Hello and welcome to the Autocar Show. Actually, scratch that. Hello and welcome to the Autocar India Trackday 2016, which means, as our regular viewers will know, that we are at the MMRT at Chennai. And of course, we've been doing this for years, which means we've had some really exciting cars slug it out to be at the top of the list. And these are the cars that have made a mark over the years. Sitting right on top of the fast list is Porsche's 911 Turbo S. Its lap time of 1 minute 50.72 seconds broke the fastest production car record previously held by the Godzilla or the Nissan GT-R. So that is the time to beat for the more exotic road-going machines. But over the last 8 years, there have been battles galore. And not just with two-door supercars or sports cars. There are fast four-doors of all sorts. Some swoopy, some brash. There have been luxury sedans with a chip on their shoulders. There have been crossovers with zing and humble hatchbacks. And for 2016, as you can see, the lineup is quite a mix. There are a few front-wheel drive hatches, and this one is a diesel. But the Ford Figo TDCi shouldn't feel shy. It has 100 horsepower and the promise of Ford genetics. Maruti Suzuki's Baleno doesn't have the heritage, but it has a promising formula. It has kept its weight low and packs a punchy petrol engine. The Scorpion-badged Fiat Punto has a massive 145 horsepower, and well, it is an Abarth. So it should really pack some sting, right? And now starts the front-engine rear-wheel drive lineup. Here is the Jaguar XE, which might be the baby of its family, but with 240 horsepower, it should have plenty of bite. Then there is the Mercedes-AMG C63S with 510 horsepower and rear-wheel drive. It is the one to watch out for. Audi's 333 horsepower S5 may not have as much power as the Merc, but it has quattro all-wheel drive. Stepping up to the sportiest SUV from Porsche, the Macan Turbo. Will 400 horsepower and all-wheel drive be enough to make up for its weight and height? Then we get slammed back down to the ground with the Lamborghini Huracan LP580-2. Yes, that's 580 horsepower in a rear-wheel drive Lamborghini. Yes, it's time to start sweating. Finally, the spec sheet top dog is the Audi R8 V10 Plus. It has the most horsepower, it has all-wheel drive, and yes, a bit more weight than the Lambo. But we'll have to see how things pan out. Now, true to our yearly ritual, there is one set of hands that we depend upon to get the very best out of these cars, quickly get the best time and give us, crucially, the right feedback on each car, the fastest Indian, Naren Karthikeyan. Naren, wide variety of cars, again very different in the sort of mix we have. Small hatchbacks, a hallowed name, SUV, small one but powerful. What do you think of this lineup that we have?
Yeah, as you said, we have a mixed variety of cars. So going from the small to the bigger cars, the Fiat Punto Abarth obviously is a nice little hatchback, and the supercars, the Lamborghini Huracan and the Audi R8 V10 Plus are something to look forward to. And you know, you have the rear-wheel drive C63 AMG. That's going to be a lot of fun. See, we have one SUV with the Macan Turbo this year. So yeah, obviously, I look forward to this day every year, and here we are, and let's have some fun.
All right, so we're gonna hit the track and find out which one of these cars comes out on top, and see how the rest of the order falls into place. So, Naren went into max attack mode, and each car's limit was found quickly. So which car comes in at number 11? Well, surprise! It wasn't the diesel. With a time of 2 minutes 20.17 seconds, it was the Maruti Suzuki Baleno. Naren was looking for a successor to the Swift, but
the Swift is always a sporty, a fun car to drive, but that's gone away quite a bit, I would say. The car sits high, so you tend to have a lot of body roll. The car has a lot of understeer built into it.
The soft suspension setup let go of the advantage that the lightweight had to offer, and the engine's punchiness was also negated somewhat.
The engine is quite quite okay. The gearing is very tall between first and second. I presume they did this for the mileage, for better efficiency.
While people might buy diesels for fuel efficiency, the Ford Figo TDCi showed that it could be frugal and fun.
Being a diesel, we thought it would be, not so strong as the competition. I'm really surprised. It's a nice little engine and it pulls all the way through the rev range. The car is actually a lot of fun to drive. It oversteers a lot, can have a lot of fun with it. I'm very impressed with this car from a dynamics point of view.
But some finer points didn't sit too well with Narain.
The interiors may not be, as sporty and as, the driving position and so on. Not in the same level as the Baleno, but overall, the most important thing is the dynamics. With the EcoBoost engine, it might be that much more fun.
But while we wait for Ford to wake up to that, Fiat has already gone and done it. A hot hatch. Expectations were quite high, and it clocked a time of 2 minutes 16.96 seconds. That's 3 seconds faster than the Punto. But was that enough for Narain?
They could have done such a fantastic car out of this, but just being a couple of seconds faster than the diesel Figo doesn't say much, does it? There is no feel from the steering. It dives a lot. There's phenomenal body roll. You have a phenomenal drivetrain, as I told you, but the chassis is nowhere close to getting the best out of the. It's a letdown for the Abarth brand, to be honest.
While it may not have been hot on the track, the Abarth can be fun on the road. And sitting in another price segment of the market, Jaguar's XC25T seems to offer more of that flavor.
It has a very strong engine, 240 horsepower, so it's very, very quick on a straight line.
This rear-wheel drive machine's focus isn't on lap times.
The ride is very soft, obviously, so for the roads, Indian roads, I guess. And the high-profile tires on this car is quite different in character to the European spec car. So has a lot of body roll, and it's quite tail happy as well. But compared to the 3 Series, which has similar horsepower, it's quite a bit down on lap time.
Stepping up the ante were the all-wheel drive machines, the Porsche Macan Turbo and the Audi S5. Which one of these would be the next? And as it turns out, the Audi S5 Sportback was next, with a lap time of 2 minutes 05.93 seconds.
It has a phenomenally strong engine, but again, the chassis, the dynamics is not as great as I thought it would be. Biggest problem is, you need to understand the four-wheel drive system. It's not easy. And as soon as the rear moves, then it puts transfers a lot of power to the fronts, and then it just understeers a lot. So not very suited for high performance driving on the track. But having said that, again, to get from point A to B, phenomenally good engine.
And faster by just a whisker was Porsche's Macan Turbo. Just for the record, it weighs nearly 2 tons and stands well off the ground. But those weren't the stumbling blocks. It took Narain some time to get used to the all-wheel drive system, and Narain also had to figure his way around the engine.
I don't know if this car had a problem or what, but especially coming out of the last corner and so on, in third and fourth gear, just was struggling to pull it through. I think there's some safety built into it as well, so it doesn't, it lets you go sideways for a bit, and then, it momentarily cuts it out, and then, the electronics take it over, and then it's not fun to drive.
Then finally, it was time to celebrate as the Mercedes-AMG C63S ducked under the 2-minute mark with a lap time of 1 minute 59.08 seconds.
On the straight line, it's just stonking, it's just so quick. We did 192k, which is for a four-door sedan. It's quite fast on this track.
But being a 4-door sedan, it had some drawbacks.
Just you can feel the weight of the car, it's so heavy as well, and the braking performance and so on is not the best. Just dynamics of it, probably a bit too soft in the suspension side of things. That kind of makes it a handful to drive. It can't put the traction down properly, but it's still a phenomenal package. And as I said, a four-door sedan being this quick, you really need to go and drive it in the autobahn.
So that brings us to the top two. Which one would be next on the list? And the second fastest car of 2016 is the Audi R8 V10 Plus.
The four-wheel drive system is definitely feels a lot different to the older car, but in a good way. It's much more safer, I would imagine, and mid-engine cars are pretty unforgiving when they're sliding. I mean, the engine is just phenomenal. It revs to 8,500 and sounds really nice, the V10, and one of the few normally aspirated cars, and it's really tough. Like the Porsche, I think you can keep doing laps and it'll keep going. Now it's the hottest part of the day, so it takes a lot of punishment, this car. Yeah, the big advantage on this car is you can use it every day. It's comfortable, and you can drive it in the streets, not a problem, and you can bring it to the racetrack and still be very quick with it. So best of both, I would say.
Undoubtedly, the Lamborghini isn't as usable every day as the Audi. But on the track, the Huracan LP580-2 stamped its advantage with a lap time that was 1.2 seconds faster than the Audi. But if you think that Lamborghinis have gotten soft and easy, think again.
Oh, it's a handful to drive. It is really hairy and just too tricky to drive. It's when you take off all the driving aids, then even for me, it's I can put a car sideways at whatever speed, but this car is you have to respect it. If not, it'll bite you back really badly. Well, the engine is phenomenal. It's so strong and it revs so much. Yeah, the gearbox also is fantastic. The shift mechanism, the paddle shift, is something really funny. They haven't, the older cars have had the same kind of system. It doesn't go with the steering wheel. So, when you want to shift through the corners, it's quite difficult. It's slightly more stiffer than the R8. It can go into corners from braking to mid-corner a little bit faster. That's where it gains the speed.
So the Lamborghini Huracan LP580-2 was the fastest production car on sale in India from 2016. But it still sat a few seconds off the time set by the Porsche 911 Turbo from 2015. But there was a special guest on track, and it was hankering for a shot at the ultimate lap time. The Porsche 911 GT3 is a special import and it hasn't been sold in India. But we couldn't wait to see what it could do. It has only 475 horsepower, but it weighs only 1430 kilograms, and it was prepped for track use. Narain found it to be a very intense proposition. Every bump on the track could be felt clearly in the GT3.
This is too hard-edged for the for the roads, but on the track it's just phenomenal, fantastic, and yeah, it feels like a proper GT race car. It has a roll cage, and it's built for the racing drivers.
The 911 GT3 set a time of 1 minute 50.9 seconds, faster than the 911 Turbo by the blink of an eye. But Narain was sure he could have gone faster.
I made a small mistake in the last corner, so it would have been the fastest ever car around the Chennai track. It's my dream car, the 911 GT3 or the RS for that matter, but I mean, it's such a phenomenal car.
So you'd think that was the hard work, but for our man here, that was the easy stuff. Now talking a little bit about it and telling us really which were the special moments for him is the tough part, but we're going to get to him and see what he really thought of some of those cars. The highlights for you?
The highlights would be in the hatchback, I would say the diesel Figo, because it just was, it had a very sharp turn in, and it had a lot of, you could throw the car in and went sideways and a bit of fun. And apart from that, obviously the Macan Turbo was quite, even though it has a high center of gravity, it kind of handled like a car, and it was quite fast on the racetrack. So it's not meant to be driven on racetrack, but nevertheless, it was quite fast. I was a bit surprised with the Huracan. It's still very edgy to drive. So I would say you still need a lot of skill to get the best out of it, because it can bite you badly if you let it slide and not catch it and not react to what it does.
And there was one car that really got you excited, and that was the 911 GT3, which you also said was a lot of work. Could you just put it in perspective compared to the fastest car here today?
Well, that's a really hardcore track car, and the 911 GT3 is a phenomenal piece of machine. And I wasn't surprised, it broke the lap record. It's the fastest ever production car on this track.
So we are looking at these from the standpoint of best drivers' cars as well. So which one would you pick, let's say, at the end of the day?
Well, from here, I would pick the R8 V10 Plus. I would pick that because it has the best of both. It has a soft ride. When you come to the track, then it's a bit, you can have a little bit of fun. And then, overall, obviously the GT3 wins hands down.
So there you have it, folks, the inside line from Naren on the fastest cars, the most exciting cars, the tough cars, and the really accessible performance cars, all lined up here for you at the Autocar India Track Day. It was fantastic to watch Naren once again do his thing out on the track. But we've got more action coming for you. We've got bikes with Rajni Krishnan. Follow us here for more action on that.